In this section, we're going to talk a little bit about sexting. Sexting is sending, receiving, or forwarding sexually explicit messages, photos, images, usually between texting, social media, messaging apps, and that type of thing. According to one study, 1 out of 5 high schoolers or teens said that they had sent a sext. Does that statistic surprise you? Do you feel like that is an accurate number, or do you feel like the more accurate number would be less than that or more than that? Most students that we talk to say they think that in reality, much more than 1 in 5 teens have done this. Either way, we know that it happens often. So what do you think? Do you think it's something that's safe or unsafe to do? Is it healthy or unhealthy in a relationship? If sexting was happening in a relationship that was unhealthy, how could someone use that to control or harm their partner? Pause this video for a minute and write those reflections down. In this section, we want you to be as informed about your decisions as possible. The goal of this is not to make anyone feel bad or scare anybody or tell anybody what they can and can't do, but we do want everyone to have all the information possible. So we are going to look a little bit at some of the legal information surrounding sexting, particularly when someone involved is under 18. When sexting involves 1 or more people under the age of 18, it is illegal. And in Idaho, it can even fall under child pornography statutes. That means it can be charged up to a felony, which means it can have some significant legal consequences. Some of these might include educational programs, fines, jail time. The most common thing that we would see is that somebody would have to register as a sex offender. Think about that for a minute. How might some of those consequences, especially a sex offender registration, affect somebody's life? Some common things that might come to mind. It might affect their jobs in the future. Some jobs might be more difficult to get. Other jobs would be impossible to get. It might also affect college applications and scholarships or living situations. Some places they may not be able to live in. All of the neighbors in a new neighborhood, anytime they moved, would need to be notified as well. It could also affect future relationships. Typically, someone's name is on that registry for up to 25 years, but even after that 25 years are over, a person can still look them up and see that they were on that registry at one point. So it can have very long-lasting effects in someone's life that never really entirely go away. Now, it's important to note, we know that lots of teens send these types of messages. Do we know of lots of teens who have to register as maybe a sex offender because of it? Probably we don't. It is fairly rare that these types of extreme consequences happen. They don't always happen. But it is important for us to know that this is what the law says and this can happen, and it does sometimes happen if 1 or more people are under the age of 18. So again, we don't want to scare you, we don't want to make you live in fear, but it is important for us to have this information because this is a possibility and it is something that sometimes happens. If both people are over 18 and are fully consenting, there are no legal consequences, but it is still important to remember that there could still be some risks involved, especially if the relationship is unhealthy. So, even though it is illegal, if 1 or more people involved is under age 18, it does still happen, we know that, and we do want to understand the effect that it can have on relationships. So kind of like we talked about in the last couple of sections, the more we understand what those risks are, the easier it is for us to stay safe. And the more information we have, the easier it is for us to make decisions that are going to be safe and that are going to be healthy for us. So, we're going to watch a couple of videos, so pause this video and watch the 4 linked videos in the order that we have them linked. The first video sets up a scenario, and then the next 3 videos are going to be looking at 3 different possible choices that the characters in those videos could make, and what might happen as a result of those choices. So they're pretty funny videos. You will probably either love them or hate them, but go ahead and pause this video and watch them. And then after you've done that, come back and we'll discuss them. Okay, so you should have watched those videos by now. So take a few minutes, write down or talk with a person that you might be watching this video with. Is there anything else that might have happened besides what we saw in these 4 videos? How might Apple's choice in each of the videos that you saw, each of those 3 scenarios, how might that choice affect his relationship with the orange? Obviously, there does show some possible results, right? In the first video, the relationship ended. In the second video, it did not. We're not really sure what exactly happened in the third video, but we know that it probably wasn't positive in their relationship. She did not appreciate receiving the photo in the third video. How might his choice in each of these videos affected his relationship with his friends? So again, we know what happens in one of the videos. His friends left, or some people say disappeared. But we know that that relationship with his friends was probably strained in that second video. Anything else that might have happened with his friends in any of the other videos? Did the apple have any other options besides those 3 options that were given to him? Were there any other things he might have chosen to do? So we know we can't predict what might happen in life as a result of our choices, but we can think about potential benefits and risks of each choice that we make. And based on that, we can have better ability to make decisions that are going to be safer and healthier for us in our own unique relationships. So, what can we do to prevent digital dating abuse? You probably know the basics of internet safety, like don't give out personal or private information like your bank account number or your social security number. Don't post all your passwords publicly online, things like that. But what can we do to prevent some of these harmful behaviors, digital dating abuse, or cyberbullying from happening to people that we know? Or how can we protect ourselves? Just some small tips. Always being mindful of who we're sharing our passwords with, who has passwords to our social media or our other accounts. Maybe does anybody have like their fingerprint in our phone or have our phone unlock screen memorized? And just making sure that that is something that we're comfortable with, that we're comfortable and okay with those people having that information. Similarly, being careful about the location settings on our devices. Who can see where we are at any time? What's our location settings look like on like Snapchat or on Find My Friends? Those types of things. Just making sure that we're comfortable and that we're aware of who can see our location at what time. And if we're not comfortable with that, maybe we change some of those settings. And if we are comfortable with that, great. But just to constantly evaluating that and making sure that that's something that we're okay with and that we're comfortable with and that we feel safe with. Similarly, knowing what our privacy settings are. So what information can people see about us on the internet? What information about us is public? What are things that maybe only some people can see? And just making sure that we're okay with that. Ultimately, remembering that we do have the right to feel safe and respected in a relationship. That includes both online and offline, and we really have been focusing on that kind of online digital world today. But just remembering that we have that right to feel safe, feel respected in any type of relationship, whether that's with family, with friends, with a dating partner, whoever that's with, we want to make sure that we are feeling safe, both online and offline. So if we or someone we know might be experiencing some of these types of things, just a couple of notes. You can always give Safe Passage a call. These types of things are things that we talk to students about quite commonly. So we're more than happy to talk over these things, kind of help process them, kind of help come up with ways that we can stay as safe as possible. You can also talk to other people that you trust. Teachers, parents, friends, other trusted adults in our lives are going to be more than happy most of the time to talk with you about these types of things. We can kind of create safety plans and talk about how we're going to stay as safe as we can in each different situation. Sometimes we just need to block a person or, hide a person's information or unfriend them or something like that to stay as safe as possible, and identify those supportive people in our lives who we can be open and honest with and who will be able to provide us help without jeopardizing our safety or our security. Sometimes we might decide that we want to make a police report, or if we're at school, we want to report to a school resource officer. If that's something that someone wants to do and they want to talk to maybe someone at Safe Passage about that, or they want someone to sit with them through that interview, that's also something that we at Safe Passage are more than happy to do with you. And counseling can also be often a great option for people who have experienced some of these harmful behaviors. So just a reminder, in the meantime, if you have any questions or want anything clarified or want to talk about a specific situation in more depth, this is how you can get a hold of us. Our 24/7 number is at the top, and then our website, and then that studentsafety@safepassageid.org email goes directly to our staff that works specifically with middle school, high school, and college students. So that email goes directly to us. We won't be able to answer an email at any time. So if it's really time sensitive, do call our phone number. But we will get back to an email as soon as we can. Similarly, our Instagram page, we have a lot of fun posts on there, and we also will answer messages on that Instagram page as well. So again, if it's really time sensitive, call our phone number. Don't send us an Instagram message or an email. But if it's not as time sensitive and you just have some questions or want to say hello, feel free to send us a message through either of those mediums. And then we do also have a Facebook page. So just a couple of notes. In the next section, we are going to be switching gears a little bit and looking more at teen dating violence and sexual assault. So this is often a little bit more difficult or sensitive topic for some people. So do what you need to do to care for yourself as we go into that discussion. In the meantime, always feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or want to talk with an advocate.